Imagine, if you will, a world where you are adventuring and you are lost in the desert. Your food ran out 4 days ago. Your water ran out 2 days ago. You've been drinking your own urine to survive. Bob, your trusted companion, you ate him 2 days ago. The situation is desperate. You've been wandering around in circles, no way of knowing how to get out. You know that the way to salvation lies north, but what can you do? And then you remember. You have in your bags your trusty Meccano electric kit, and you know that E4 is the compass. Suddenly, a ray of hope. Can we get out of this? Meccano, can you save us? These are the parts that you need for this build, the electric E4 compass. The only thing that you might want to be aware of is that this particular part here, which is number 545, the pivot bolt. Took me a little bit of finding. You need it because it's got this little indent at the end of the bolt, presumably so it can balance on this. It's there, look, and it's got to balance on the end of there. So that's presumably to help it rest and balance there. And it just took me a little bit of finding amidst the other screws. Was almost thinking that I might have not have it, but did turn up, so just be aware of that if you do come to build this. Can we escape from this desert we find ourselves in? Just for demonstration purposes, north in this house is, according to this compass, north is approximately there. So let's see where this tells us that north is. No, that's not right. We are... I'm guessing the card should probably... Yeah, stupid Andrew. The card should be aligned along the magnets. North should be aligned with the... North should be aligned with the red pole, according to the diagram. So try again. Can we escape the clutches of this desert? Oh, my compass up above it doesn't like the magnet being somewhere below it. Let's move that out of the way so it's not being pulled by that magnet. And I would say they're pointing in approximately the right direction with each other. Don't know how good this compass is. It's a cheap one from eBay. So I don't know how good this compass is. It's a cheap thing off of eBay. But you can see the lines are not perfectly aligned. But, well, I don't know, maybe you're escaping, maybe you're not. Let's see how that goes. It does realign just to show that there is some sort of effect being done. If you spin it round, stop it randomly, spin it round, it does find a definite direction. It's not just rotating randomly, it's trying to find somewhere. And that, actually, this time round, that is quite a lot more in line with what the compass is showing, so I'll take that as a success at this point. So yeah, jolly good. The Electric E4 compass. We're going to escape the desert. Good stuff. Hi guys. Now then. You may have noticed, or probably not, but recently, as in sort of like at the start of this year, Baldy Makes Stuff went past 100 subscribers. Hooray! Yeah! Give it some. Yeah. Now then, that's thanks to you lot. Well, you lot who've actually pressed the subscribe button, and if you haven't, well, why not? I mean, you know what to do. So, anyway, YouTube marked this kind of event by sending out plaques that you can put on your wall saying you've got so many subscribers. The problem is that they only start sending them out when you hit 100,000 subscribers. Well, I'm at 100. 100,000, there's a way to go. Now look, I'm an optimistic kind of guy. I don't believe in being defeatist, but being slightly realistic about it, I'm at 100 subscribers now, 100,000 subscribers. It's going to take me a while. And, well, I want one of these plaques now. So, there's the problem. And I figure I have the Meccano to do something about this. So, from there, let's go make a 100 subscriber Meccano YouTube plaque. And it can go on this wall here, next to my head. It'll look nice, be good. So, let's go and get that sorted out. Now, this is what YouTube send out to you if you hit 100,000 subscribers. This silver one here. And if you go on from there and hit 1 million subscribers, they send out this snazzy gold one. And I mean, they are both pretty nice looking, I think you'll agree. But I think you've also got to agree they're not a patch on this. The Meccano 100 subscribers YouTube award. Yeah, unique, one-off, handmade to commemorate the occasion. Nobody else on the planet has got one of these, you know. Absolutely unique, and I think it's, I'm very pleased. Anyway, I think to mark this occasion, it's only appropriate that, you know, a suitable speech is given and that I receive the award in the manner that I should be doing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honoured to accept this award. I'd like to say thank you very much to the people who made it possible, to the 100 people who subscribed and got me to this milestone. I'd also like to thank my mum, my dad, my wife, my kid, my dog, my cat, my pet hamster as a child, and everybody else who brought me to this moment. It's been great. Looking forward to the 1 million subscriber mark that we're going to get to in a few months' time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to pull us towards that. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers. And here we go. All hung up. Looking good. Thanks very much. Hey YouTube. So, I would love to keep all my models in one piece forever. But, well, this mess is my workspace. And as you can see, I need to clear some space in that. So, today, the Strand Beast and the hoverbike are going to meet the maker. Actually, thinking about that, I am their maker and they've already met me, so anyway, they're going back into pieces. They've got the moment of glory as videos which will shine forever in these stars, and that's largely why I make them, so time to take them to pieces. By the way, I don't condone bullfighting. This is a family heirloom. My grandma brought this back from Spain when I was about 10 years old, a long time ago, and it's got my name on it, so it's a keepsake from that. Not because I'm a bullfighting enthusiast. Let the bulls live is what I say. Of course, part of the problem that dismantling this isn't going to solve is that I'm an untidy slob. So I'll get a bit of space from clearing these models, but still going to be a mess. Still. Can't even say that I know where everything is, you know. So some of these people say it's a mess, but I know where everything is. Nah, not me. I haven't got a clue. I end up buying stuff and then finding them again months later. Still. The thing is, though, look at all these parts. I've only just started into taking it to pieces and, you know, get a feeling on that. Quarter done, and look at all those bits of brass and gears and pinions and stuff and whatnot. You know, I've just been playing a PlayStation game, Horizon Forbidden West, and one of the characters, the way they get the stuff is by killing machines and harvesting the parts from them, and I feel a bit like that. Ah, well. Death of a Strand Beast. Goodbye, Mr. Strand Beast. I hardly knew you. If you're my sort of age, you probably remember Wonder Woman, Linda Carter and her invisible jet. And I got to thinking, I'd quite like to make an invisible jet in Meccano. So, how am I going to do that? Well, Meccano gave me a bit of an idea. In the vintage sets, they used to produce these transparent plates, which were mainly used for windscreens and the like. Not really solid enough to use for building actual models out of. They're too thin and flexible for that, and they break too easily. But it did give me an idea. I'm a member of the Phoenix Men's Shed. It's a shared workshop in Halifax, and it happens to have this, a laser cutter. That opens up lots of opportunities. So first of all, I need to do some CAD work on the computer, replicating the design of Meccano pieces. That's made somewhat easier by the fact that you can get the engineering drawings for Meccano from the internet, and that's what I've worked from here. So take that file, apply it to the laser cutter, and some 2mm thick acrylic, and this is what happens. And that's how I created these, my own handmade invisible Meccano pieces. Now, just for the time being, I've made a set to make Wonder Woman's plane, and I'll show you that eventually. But on a wider note, I'm seeing these as having possibilities for viewing pieces into bits of Meccano machinery that you might make, and here's just a quick sample of how I see that potentially working. The model's going to be based on this, the Meccano monoplane, which I've made up here in traditional Meccano, so you can see what it looks like. I am going to have to make a few slight changes to it along the way, just to fit in with the Meccano pieces that I've made, but it basically is going to be similar to that. YouTube, welcome to Baldy Makes Stuff, the channel for construction kit makers everywhere. Now then, Colin Furze. If you're watching this video, there's a pretty good chance you've heard of Mr. Furze, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time introducing him. If by any mischance you haven't seen his channel, then I'll stick it on the screen somewhere, go and find it, go and take a look at his, and because his videos are a lot better than mine, so go and do some of that. Anyway, what Mr. Furze is famous for is several weird and wonderful inventions, and one of those is this, the hover bike. Man built this in his shed, a heavier than air machine that he floated around on his grass with, and it's a very famous video of his. It's his most popular video with over 50 million views at the moment, and well, you know, if I can get anything like that with this one, I'll be more than happy. Oh, and by the way, Colin's concession to safety precautions during his videos is that he wears a safety tie, so in honour of that, here we are, in the colours of the world's best football team, Bradford City FC. In tribute to Mr. Furze, I decided it was time that the world saw the first Meccano hover bike, and this is it. See, it's hopefully reasonably in proportion with the picture that I've got, and, you know, reasonably follows it. You've got the two big discs here. You've got the motors here and here, and if we flick this switch here, we've got some motor action going on. Just with that one, I didn't want to have to put two battery packs to power that one up as well, because this is quite bulky already and didn't want another one on there. You'll shortly see this floating around the back of my garden to show how well it works. But clearly, if you're going to have a hover bike, a Colin Furze hover bike, then you need to have a Colin Furze as well. So, here we are. You can tell it's Colin because of two things. Firstly, the safety tie, matching, and also the slightly startled expression on his face, which is fairly typical of Colin, I think. And there we are. We're going to put him on the bike, take it for a spin. So, I want to show you my deep, dark, shameful secret. This mess is my Meccano hobby room. And as you can see, it is absolutely ridiculously crowded out. Couple of reasons for that. The main thing is that I've got too much stuff because I recently closed my office down. I'm working from home now. I mean, I'm very much part-time. I'm virtually retired, but the work that I do, I work from home. And that means I stored a lot of my Meccano stuff down at the office at work, and since I've closed that down, it's had to come up here, and I don't have enough space here. So some of this is going to have to go into storage, but a lot of it, if I reorganise this room and get it a bit tidier, then I can hopefully fit a lot more in a lot more efficiently and get some use out of it. The basic plan is going to be to make an L shape of the desk. So in that corner there is where the desks are going to intersect. We're going to have an L shape, so I'm going to have a lot more desk area and also space beneath the desks to stack the Meccano that's there so it looks tidier. I'm going to, you can't really see it, but I tend to sit on that there, and I'm going to lose that because it's taking too much space up, and I'm just going to sit on the chair. The TV, which I use for PlayStation games, which I'm old and terrible reflexes not very good at, but I enjoy him anyway. I'm thinking that's going to go on that wall there. And Lara might have to come down. I don't know, we'll have to see. And once I've done that, tidied up, maybe taken some stuff away and put it in the garage for storage, then hopefully I've got an area that's a lot more usable and nicer to be in. So this appeared on my door courtesy of my darling wife and son halfway through. And as we are halfway through, let's just take a look and show you what we've done so far. We've got the desking stacked with everything, as you can see. So, there we are, that's better. Now let's look around, and these shelves are going to be put up against this back wall. That one there's going to come down because I want my space for it. I'm not sure where that will go afterwards, but that will then hopefully put the shelves there, put my models across them, and that'll give me a nice backdrop from there when I'm filming. But yeah, we're starting to take shape. Just shelves to put on there, the telly to mount there between those two pictures approximately, and then just some tidying up to do, and we should be good from there. Right then, so job done. Let's show you where we got to. And this, I'm sure you'll agree, is much better. I've got my shelves with the various models and so forth on here. Bit of a library going on down there. I've got my top shelf there. Various things. Meccano related pictures and whatnot. Got this area set up for my electronics and robotics sort of projects on this side. I've put this up here. This is going to be, when needed, a blind that I can pull down, so I've got a backdrop for photography. Clear all this lot off, and then I can, larger models, I can use that as a backdrop. I've put in a new blind against the window, which looks a bit tidier. Rearranged it. I've got a lot more desk space, as you can see. Come round here. I've got my mobile crane, which is going to progress next year. I entirely intend that to move forward. I've got my telly on the wall, and Lara's back up on there. Telly on the wall always seems kind of decadent to me. I don't know why. And yeah, so that's what we like. I'm very pleased with how it's turned out. It's a lot nicer space to work in now. And, well, stick around, watch some of the videos and see what I make in there. Thanks for watching. See you all later. Bye. Hi guys, welcome back to Baldy Makes Stuff. Today we're going to take a look at building the E5 electromagnetic grab from the electric kit that we have here. There you go. It doesn't look a complicated model, but once we've got it built up, what we're going to do is the switch is going to make a return, but also this beastie is going to come back into play. There was a method to my madness when I built this last time round. Stop swinging you. There was a method to my madness because Frank Hornby was very keen that his model should be put onto a crane, and hence you have E36, which is the forge crane with the electromagnet attached. So that's what we're aiming at. We're going to build the electromagnet, connect it up to the switch, attach it onto the crane, and then we're going to see what it can do in terms of what it can lift. So kick around to the end and let's see just how powerful the magnet is and what it's got in it, and whether it'll work at all. That's a challenge to begin with. But yeah, hang around, let's see what happens. Let's just take another look at the E36, because we probably couldn't see it very well from that angle. That's the actual model drawn up, and you can see it's got the forge crane with the electromagnet attached and the switch on the bottom. Also worth seeing that quite a lot of years ago when the Supermodel book came out, this was one of the suggestions for use with the revolving crane, which was the Meccano electromagnet, but which wanted you to attach to the crane. As I say, magnets attached to crane was a theme they were trying to go for a long time. But if you look at the instructions for it, they wanted you to essentially make this up with winding wire around bobbins and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot easier with the electric kit than it would have been for a kid back in the day when this came out in the 1920s. I think this Supermodels book came out. Then it asked for some proper work to get one there. But anyway, So this is what you need to build the electromagnetic grab. It's not the biggest model you're going to make out of the kit, but it is what it is. Just take a closer look. There we are, various bits and bats, and the return of E1, the switch, to be used with this, as it says in the instructions. So, there you go. Hopefully a fairly simple and straightforward build, but we'll see how we go. Okay then, first test. Let's see where we go. It says that 12 volts gives the best results, DC, so let's whack in at 12 volts. There we go. Connected up on the studs here. And if we then switch across, that should be a working electromagnet. Let's see. And not a dicky bird. What connection have I got wrong? Oh no, sorry. You get something that, wow, look at that. Oh, it's working. Oh, cool. Cool. Good stuff. So here we have E36 crane with electromagnetic grab in all its glory. Let's see how well it works with these paper clips to begin with. Let's put some voltage on. 12 volts as recommended. Switch on with this. Let's see how close we've got to get for it to pick up. Going down. Going down. Oh, and look, there we are. We've got some paper clips. So if we pick up, go, rotate. Now, if we drop power, is it going to drop them? After a fashion. I mean, you put it on, you can see them tensioning. You put it off, they let go a little bit, but they seem to be keeping a little bit of magnetism there. If we turn the power off totally, there's still a little bit of residual magnetism in there. I don't know enough about electronics to know why that is still the case and how long that magnetism would last. But you pull them off, they will let go. And they won't reattract. So I don't know, but that's paper clips worked. So turn off, possibly didn't, but paper clips worked. So next job, let's try for something a little bit heavier and see how we work with that. Next up, we've got some 5-hole strips. Let's put some power on. Power on there. Should be magnet that working now. So let's go down and see what power we've got in terms of this. Oh yeah. Look at that. Ooh, we're just struggling a little bit to get the last one fully, but it's coming all the way up. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips there. And does it release for these? It releases a little bit, but the ones at the top are still keeping power. When you release it, they're still attached. Still. Right. Okay. What can we do that's a little bit heavier than that and see if it wants it? Screwdriver. Let's see where you go. Can we pick up the screwdriver? Oh, ooh. is most definitely picking up the screwdriver. No issues whatsoever. Issue for the crane, but not for the magnet. Again, when I release it on this switch, it still wants to keep it. So, about that, but quite strongly. The magnet's not letting go at all. Turn the power off. Apologies on there. Just a little bit maybe something not at all. So, right, let's test this thing properly. If it was working in a scrapyard, it had to move bits of machinery and scrap. So let's see if we can do that. This is a much more difficult test, and I have no idea if it's up to it or not. But there's power. It's switched on. Let's see what happens. I'm sure we'll attach, but whether we can definitely attach now. Can we lift? Oh, what the hell? I think we're at the limits. Will it get it off the ground? Oh, so close, so close. You can stop. Let's try that again. Let's see if it wants to do it. Get a better grip. Let's try lift off. Oh, a better grip this time round. That's pretty impressive. It's more impressive than I expected it to do. But I think that's about as much as we're going to try it with weight-wise. And when I turn it off, oh, this time round it does let go. No doubt about that. So, there we are. E36 crane with electromagnetic grab to finish with, and I'm reasonably impressed with that. I think that worked well. Wood Meccano, that's a cracking idea. Let's go make some. This is the CAD file I've made up when I did the invisible Meccano, and it's what I'm going to use now for making these shapes. So, back again to the Phoenix shed in Halifax, my local man's shed, and I'm going to use the laser cutter that they've got there to carve out these wooden pieces. And when that's done, I'm left with these nicely cut out Meccano wooden pieces. You do get a little bit of scorch marking on the top side, but not to worry, it adds a little bit of texture to it. And what I'm also going to do is stain the strips so that I've got a little bit of contrast when I build the model between the strips and the plates. So here we are in comparison with a normal piece of Meccano. You can see that it's pretty much exactly the same size. That's what CAD drawings do for you. You can be very exact. The one difference you've got is that this is 3mm thick. Has to be to well, you can't get balsa wood that thin, so or plywood that thin, so that's where you make the difference. It's a bit thicker. You need thicker screws. You're not going to quite be at the same measurements as the plans, but still. And also, it's not. You don't have any bend in it. It's going to be flat regardless, without any bend, and that's about it really. It's difficult to put any kind of right angle in it. You get flat pieces. So if you want a flange piece, you've got to just put a bracket on to yourself to screw it with it. But, you know, it's what I wanted. It'll make some decent looking models. Let's go make one. This is an idea that Meccano have actually had themselves in the past at various points. These are from the Crazy Inventors set, and you can see they are essentially the same thickness of wood, and they've got Meccano space holes put into them. So, you know, but they never did what I'm doing, which is get standard pieces made out of wood. So I'm going to claim a first on that. I'm going to make this windmill model. Nice and easy build, but it'll show off the wooden pieces nicely, and we'll get a bit of motion to look at with the sails going round. So, yeah, that's me. So, yeah then, I'm quite pleased with this. I think it's come out looking pretty well. And of course it's a one-off. I'm going to be the only person in the world who's got a set like this and a model made up like that. What I might do, I mentioned I made Invisible Meccano. If you haven't seen that video before, there'll be a link to it on the screen now. And at some point I might, you know, mix and match the two together so we've got the acrylic stuff and the wood stuff in one model. I think that could look pretty good. But, well, thanks for watching, and, you know, we'll see you next time. Hi guys, welcome to Baldy Makes Stuff. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the channel, and if you've come back for more, well, you sucker for punishment you, but thank you very much, I much appreciate it. Cranes have formed a part of Meccano history right since the beginning. The first model that we've got a plan for was in the patent applied for by Frank Hornby when he put the patent in for Meccano back in 1901. That was this picture here, which is a very basic crane, but a crane nonetheless. And since then, cranes have been an integral part of Meccano. Just about every set that you care to mention has had a crane in it along the way. Perhaps the most famous being the giant block setting crane that's the Everest of Meccano making, if you like. Certainly bigger than anything I've ever made. But, you know, cranes along the way. Going to start today by making this. This is set 4.12, the forge crane. It's a reasonably simple crane to start off with, so, you know, without further ado, let's get on with that. So, model 4.12, the forge crane. What we're going to do first of all is build the base. That's the plan down there. And these are the assembled parts necessary to make it up. I'm going to be using my own collection of nuts and bolts. I prefer to use Allen head nuts with an Allen head driver. This is an Arrow Max. It's a nice little piece of kit. It just makes it a lot easier. I know there are purists out there who would faint away at the prospect of not using the original nuts and bolts, but that's not me. I prefer to make life easier, and to my mind they look just as good when they're finished. I'm not going to inflict on you every nut and bolt going in. You'll get those fast forwarded speed with some corner music over the top of them. But when I've built the base, we'll pause then and we'll just take a closer look so you can see where all the bits go together, and if by any chance you did want to make this model, you can get a look and see how it goes together. So without further ado, let's start building the thing. So we're back with the base finished. There we go. Hope you can see that okay. From all angles, that's the rear, that's the front. The bit that I struggled with a little bit of a swine, was getting this fixed on, because if you put those bits on first and then try to mount it, accessing the nuts is nearly impossible. So I ended up taking that back off and attaching those 125s first onto this, and then attaching that onto the base, if that makes sense. That was the only part that was any kind of issue with it, and here we are now. So yeah, let's move on next to doing this part here, which is the support tower, and probably at the same time doing all the framework around there. These are the parts that you need to finish the build off. Right, the rest of it. I have to say, I've always thought that set 4 models were fairly simple models, but when you look at these parts all laid out, you get an appreciation of actually they're not that simple. There's quite a lot of parts involved in putting these together. So yeah, there we go. I don't normally do this. I normally just get the parts as I need them rather than putting them out in one layout beforehand. And I'm quite impressed by how many parts are involved even in a small model. Just to take a closer look, you've got all the various strips that make up the structure of the crane. I've had these
nickel plated, which was taking them back to what used to be done in the early days of Meccano. Not that I'm such a purist, but it was the cheapest way of getting some old rough stuff back to a decent condition that I think looks pretty good to use. We've got all the rest of the parts that you need. There's the piece of cord there which still hasn't been broken into, and I'm not going to break into it for this model because I think that would be a shame. Instead, I leave those be, and I tend to use more modern hanks of cord, as you see here, for the actual parts themselves. My trusty Meccano buddy showing a normal level of interest in what I'm doing. So we'll just pause it there for you to take a look at the hook and the end of the crane there. Just because the little picture there will give you the close up there. I can't see the camera, so I hope that that's giving you a good view on that. And that's on that. I don't have the exact same type of hook that they've got there, or I do have them, but they're busy on other models at the moment, so that's good enough. But yeah, piece of cord around there, and that's how that is. So then, ladies and gentlemen, we give you Meccano 4.12, the forge crane. I'm always surprised how big they are when you've made them. I always think they're going to be much smaller based on the things in the book, but this is actually a reasonable size model, just to give you some idea of scale. That's a 12-inch ruler against that, and you can see the model stands probably about, I don't know, 15 inches tall, something like that. Yeah, 15 inches or so tall. And you know, it works. It's it rotates. It's not a complicated bearing that it's on, but it works. It's the best it could do with the contents of the parts. And the crane itself, when you pull the hook, well, you know, will actually lift something, which is what cranes are for after all. It's called a forge crane. Never having been in the forge, I have no idea if cranes similar to this were in use, but I presume there were. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. It's a fairly simple Meccano crane. It does what it says on the tin, and yeah, all in all, pleased with that. Hi YouTube, welcome to Baldy Makes Stuff. Today we're taking a look at this, the Meccano Roadster Cabriolet 5-in-1 set. Fair takes me back to my youth as a Roadster set. This is me 30 odd years ago when Baldy maybe wasn't quite as bald as he is nowadays. This would be a great first Meccano set for about, I don't know, 8-10 year old, something like that. It's a proper build, proper nuts and bolts, and it's a decent challenge, but the models themselves aren't so big that they're overwhelming. decent hour's work and you've got something worth talking about at the end of it. The important thing to bear in mind about Meccano is that it's about the building. Yes, you do get a toy car at the end of it and it's got a pullback motor. There is a bit of play value with the actual car itself, but the main purpose of this is to enjoy putting the thing together and to get your kid into a bit of an engineering mindset, so they're actually learning something while they're doing it. Speaking of which, these are the 5 models that you get plans for with the set. And looking at them, it looks like Meccano have ripped off Lotus a little bit for inspiration. This looks like very much like the Lotus 7 that you might recall from the Prisoner TV series if you're old enough for that. And these two look like historic Formula 1 cars. So then, what do you get in the box? Let's rip it open and take a look. This is what actually comes with the kit when you get it opened out. Should mention, not this red organiser box, that's one I've provided myself, and I always recommend at this point that you get something similar to this because there's a lot of small pieces in there, and if you don't, you haven't got a prayer of keeping them all in one place. So an organiser box is essential. But once you do get that, you've got plenty of nuts, bolts, wheels, tyres, brackets, tools, bodywork, and all the odds and sods that go to putting it together. You've also got a sticker set, the pullback engine to make it move, and the instructions there. The instructions, you've got printed instructions in here for those 3. That's the 3 that you've actually got instructions in the booklet for. If you wanted to make these 2 models, which to my mind are probably the best 2 in the set actually, but you'd have to go online and download them from Meccano's website, which I've done that before for instructions, and it's a perfectly easy process to get it done. So today I'm going to make up the model that's on the cover, which is what I normally do when I'm reviewing these sets. So we'll put that together and we'll see what it looks like. Right then, there you go. What do you think? Took me about an hour and a half of solid work to get to that stage, so you know it's not the biggest model, but I have to say that's an hour and a half for me who's put plenty of Meccano together, and I'm an adult. If you put a kid on this, I think that it would definitely be a challenge for them at the 8+ that it says there. I'm not saying there are no 8-year-olds who could do it, but it would definitely need adult supervision. And to be honest, I think it's probably better aimed at somebody at least 10+, maybe 12+. But what do I know? Kids these days probably can do it in their sleep. I'm also going to go back to what I said before. The joy of Meccano isn't so much this, which is great, you know, but it's not so much the toy that you get to play with, it's the fact of building it. And what you would do when you've got this, play with it for a little bit, but then take it to pieces and make up the next one. 5 models to go at, and then as many more as you can think of yourself afterwards, and that's where the real value of this lies. So, yeah, cheers. See you next time. Hi YouTube. Now then, yesterday I attended my local Meccano club, Sheffield Meccano Guild, and as is typical of this kind of thing, they had an auction at the end of it. And I went and got stuck in and bought 5 lots. The main one being this, loads of various bits and bats of vintage Meccano, but we'll come to that at the end and show you what I've got. I'm quite pleased with that. I think I haven't properly looked at it, so we'll see what there is as we go through. But showing you what I've got. First thing I got, I know nothing about remote control, but this is apparently an attack 2-door digital proportional remote control system, and it's got the handset, a forward and reverse electronic speed control, some, I don't know there, servo horns, servos, aerials, I don't know, and an instruction manual. So I shall have fun playing with that. I gave £16 for that, and looking on eBay, just the handset looks to be worth that by itself, and then all this other gubbins seems to be my bonus. I'm not saying it's worth a great deal, it's electronic bits and bats, it's not normally expensive, but that's what I got for my money. Next lot up was a load of motors, which always come in. A lot of them. I paid £22 for this lot, which I think was good going, to be honest with you. And the benefit of a lot of these is they've been prepped for Meccano. They've got mounting brackets that have got the spaces on them, so you can mount them into your models. Let's see, I've got 1, 2 of these bigger ones, 1 these smaller ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, that, these, this, bits of cord and bulbs, okay, and then 4 other of these motors here of this type, which apparently are 944D series. Oh, so there you go. Well, 22 quid. I don't think I can have gone far wrong with this amount of stuff. So, again, tell me what you think in the comments. I think that's a bargain myself. What did we get after that? Well, this. A selection of white Meccano. You can see there. Now, it comes with this in it, which is the instructions for the Meccano Concorde. I think there's far more parts here than needed for the Meccano Concorde. It was sold as a selection of white parts. Like, you don't, there's far more of those than you need for making the Concordes. Far more of this sort of thing than you need. So, whilst I think I'm sure I've got a Concorde in there. Couple of nose plates, nose pieces, and the things to go with them, and the wheels and so forth for it. So I'm sure I've got the full set for the Concorde, but I've also got a load more spare other than that as well. Probably from one of the space sets or something like that. I've not actually got any white Meccano before this, so a nice addition. And at some point, I will have a go at making this Concorde up. A Concorde set on eBay is about 40 quid. Now that comes sort of nice and packaged in a box and so forth and new. But as I say, I think I've got a full Concorde set and a load more bits and bats as well. And this cost me £22, I think, something like that. So I think I've done reasonably well there. Pleased enough with that. Then onto the actual vintage Meccano, which is the sort of mainstay of it. What did we get? Picked up this. This was listed as rare and collectible Meccano. I don't know so much about that, but what we've got here is this is early pattern tunnel gears. And what you've got, they appear to have some sort of keyway in them. Now you can see that on there, but the hole through it has got a slot in it for a keyway on there going in. I'm not quite sure how these are used, but they are certainly quite rare. Got these, I think I paid a tenner for this set of stuff. I've got that. I have no idea what this is, but it's, yeah, I've no idea. There seems to be some sort of scale down there, and there's some sort of mark, which, put my glasses on. It's made by Resilient Hill of Birmingham. That's 0 to 20. That clearly at some point did go up and down. I'm thinking it's, oh yeah, it's something for measuring weight, I guess, or force. It's definitely a spring pulling back on it, so that's that. We've got quite a few old style Meccano spanners, very early type things. We've got some more Meccano stamped, and again these are the keyway gears. It's stamped 1911 patent is this, so this is very early stuff. Again with the keyway. I'm quite pleased actually. I mean, I'll probably never use this stuff, but from a collectible point of view, pleased to have it. Yeah, again the keyway thing. There's a hook block there. There you go, bevel gear. Just seems to be a standard bevel gear, but there we go. And I'm not quite sure where that would fit in, but that was my rare and collectibles. Paid a tenner for it. I think I've got a decent tenner's worth there, especially with it being the old stuff with the keyway. I'm quite pleased with that. So yeah, good stuff. My wife described this lot as a pile of junk that you're never going to use that we haven't got space for. And she may be right in saying that, but hey ho. Right. The main feature, so to speak. We have, well, I got paid £38 for this lot, which is, you know, fairly strong money for a selection of Meccano, but what I was attracted by, you can't properly root through, there isn't really space for doing that, so it's a bit of a surface look, but what attracted me initially was these rack strips. Rack strips are fairly rare to get hold of, you don't see them that much in collections, and there must be a good 10-15 of them there, of the long ones. Then there's these short ones here. That was the attraction first of all to see those, because you don't see that many of them. I also saw as well, these always come in useful colours. You go through them, looks like probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 in there, so decent value in there. And then loads of other stuff to rummage through. And I'll just show you what I've got. Hang on a second, we'll bring this camera in a bit closer. Right, let's have a bit of a closer look. As I say, you've got the ratchet strips, shorter ratchet strips. You've got loads of connectors, various connecting pieces in there. We have loads of pulleys, various sizes, flange end pieces, whatnot. Not particularly rare, but it is what it is, so put them out. Them. Oh dear. Box is falling apart, but there we go. Loads of brass. Various bits and bobbins and screws and whatnot. Yeah, bolts. We have dog clutches, it says on there. Let's have a look. That's not a bad haul. The dog clutches, just as a nice little bonus surprise in there. They're worth getting. We've got gears, brass and plastic. It's a fairly common size, but even so, you know, it's a decent load of getting there. We've got a load more gears. I'm not sure if these are Meccano because they haven't got the bosses on for. Oh, keyway rods and bolts. Oh, this will fit in with me, potentially with me other ones that need a keyway, although no, slightly different shaping. But keyway rods and bolts, are they keyway gears? No, they seem to screw on. Anyway, we'll figure it out as it goes. There seem to be gears that screw onto screwed rod. Sorry for me rambling, not seen those before. Right, jolly good. We have a box of contrates. Yeah, fine. Screws, bolts, nuts, good stuff. Cord anchoring springs. There you go. They always come in. Spring clips. indeed. Many spring clips. And this is quite good. Not sure what you are, but I've got lots of hooks. Not entirely sure if they are Meccano, but some of them are. And in particular, what I'm quite pleased with, there may be repros, I'm not sure, but hook blocks. Quite a lot of them. There. 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 You know, various Meccano type hooks. That's from a caterpillar track. You know, plenty of hooks of varying sizes. Feel like I should recognise that, but I'm not sure what it is. But there you go. That was a bit of a bonus box of hooks. So yeah, pleased enough with that. And then we've got what I didn't get a proper look at, but looks like it's got some decent brass in the bottom. There's these springs, which fine, but then we've got some more gears at the bottom. And brass is always the stuff that you get excited about when you get to stuff like this. So I've got some pawls with bosses, without bosses, a ratchet piece, more pawls, ratchets. It's somebody's ratchet piece collection by the look of it. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap at all, out of ratchets, if you go and buy them individually. Ratchets and paws, which work together in it, I guess, as a set. So, yeah, that's alright. So, give me 2 minutes. I'll space all this out so I can get a proper look at what I've got all together, and you can tell me whether you think it's worth 38 quid or not. Okay, then, let's just have a bit of a look at this Meccano. It's not that I've got it spread out, we can see what I've got. Let's go through. We've got contraits. I mean, none of it's particularly clean, but it's all usable and can be cleaned up. We've got the dog clutches. There. Got a jar of spring clips. Various bolts, pivot bolts, etc. Anchoring cords. Spring anchoring cords, I should say. Gears. Brass and plastic. Pawls. Now these, I'm still not sure. So I'm presuming that they are Meccano, but I'm still not 100% sure. Tell me if you recognise them. They haven't got bosses on them. Some of them appear to be threaded, some of them are not. That's got a end that's sort of sealed off. I've never seen all that before. I'm not sure if it's 100% Meccano or not. I've got a load of keyway rods and the keyway bolts to go with them. I've got springs, pawls and ratchets. There we go. Nuts and bolts. Various bits of hook selection. These are just some of the hooks. Left some more in there, but hooks and various pulley combinations. Which are quite decent finds, I think. I have no idea what these circular bits are again. If you know, tell me in the comments. Box full of colours. Some quadrant pieces, which are quite rare, fairly rough condition, but still. Alright. Rack strips, short and long. Again, in varying conditions, but still. Connectors. Loads of connectors. I'm going to spread them all out because I'd fill the table just with bloody connectors, but loads of connectors. Pulleys. I don't know why all these have got the bosses knocked out of the middle, but pulleys. I mean, not particularly special. Box full of more pulleys. Pulleys. And then this stuff that was the box of rare parts, supposedly, which is mostly this weighing thing, which I don't think is Meccano. It's just a odd and sod that was in there. And then these keyway things. Keyway things? No, not keyway. Tunnel gears. Which again, unfortunately, I don't appear to have any of these tunnel bars, which is a real shame. Because I presume that you need a specific rod with that shape on it to make them work properly. But if you look at the thing, they're stamped 1911, so they're pretty early stuff. And that's rare. So, and some of the earlier screwdrivers that you don't see as much. So that's that's what I've got. The rare stuff, I think, was about 10 or something like that. Rare and early stuff there, and then the rest of it was 38 quid. So I think I did alright at that. Jolly good. Thanks very much for watching. See you all later. Hi guys, today we're going to work on Meccano 6.14 locomotive. Always nice to do a train based model. Meccano being the brainchild of Frank Hornby, who's equally well known for Hornby Railways. This is a nice crossover piece. And I know a lot of people who are into Meccano also like model trains. I can't honestly say that's particularly my preference, and I haven't really got the time and space to get into model trains, but for those who do, it is a common crossover. Anyway, we're going to build this. Looking at the plan, you make several sections of it to get the thing together. We're going to have the cab, the cross bracing and the front end there, the boiler with the stand for it to go on, and then the chassis with a front bogie there, and the wheel mechanism there. So we'll put all those pieces together individually. We'll check back in with each individual one just to show you them in the makings. And we'll see how it all goes together in the end. It should be a nice model, fairly decent size I would have thought. Probably a good 12-13 inches in length at the end of it. So, here goes nothing. Cheers, bye. Okay then, progress so far. We've made the cab, which is here. That went together pretty easy. Nothing complicated. Nice little piece, exactly the same as that there, no worries. Second piece is this front and the cross beams, which this was a little bit trickier. Getting this is really tight around here with this, and that took a little bit of getting together. I have put a few extra braces there that are on the plan, but you know, it's... And this was quite complicated to work out, following it to figure out where exactly all the triangles were supposed to go. But at the end of the day, it's all come together, and we should have some idea now. These are going to join together like that, and that gives you some idea of the size that it's going to be, which is going to be, as I said, just over... Let's have a look, pull this. Just over 12 inches, all in all, when it all comes together. So yeah, quite pleased with progress so far. Crack on, bring you some more when we've done it. Okay, we've got these pieces joined together, like that. That's actually 18 inches from start to finish of it. And what we need to do now is build the boiler that's going to go on top of there, which is the picture that you can see there. That's going to involve bending a lot of plates into which this is what I need to get bent to a constant radius, and to do that we'll be bringing into play my plate bender here. I have done a video showing how to use it previously, but we'll show you it working in this here. Don't know when this came out 40-50 years ago and these plate benders were not possibly as readily available as they are nowadays. I don't really know how kids were expected to make that model, because you know, this is the only way of getting a decent curve on things. So we will crack on and do that. Show you some of that being done with the plate bender, and get the boiler put together and onto the support that we've got there. So we want a constant radius curve. Where we achieve that is by pulling this gadget up like that, sticking through, giving it a bit of a bend, and then rolling it through. If you keep it at the same place, you get a constant radius coming through. And that's a nice curve. It doesn't need to be exact for the width of it, because when we put the screws on it, we'll pull it to near enough where it wants to be. that's sort of close enough for the time being, and the putting it together will play on there with it. So I'll do that with all the rest of them, put it together as shown there, and then we're in business with a boiler. Here we are then with the boiler made up and in place, and I think we're starting to look the part now. That's pretty decent. We've got a boiler front, comes around all the way down the sides, and then we've got the structure underneath, and we're going to join that onto the chassis and the bogie and the wheel mechanism, which we're going to make up next. So back with you shortly when we've done those. Right, so we're getting somewhere now. Train built up, as we saw. Built up the bottom bit of it now, the chassis that these bits will attach to. And we've got the front bogie, the wheels that will drive the, I'm quite sure what you'd call them, the turning shafts, whatever they are, and the rear bogie. And as I say, I'm not a railway guy at all, but I think this lot collectively will be called the running gear. Could be entirely wrong there. If you know better than me, tell me about railways in the comments. That'd be great. So just a case now of attaching these various components to the chassis, and then the model will be done and hopefully be good to go. So let's get on and do that. Cheers. Right, there we go then. All done. Meccano 6.14 locomotive. Anybody got any idea if it's supposed to be a proper railway engine out there? I went to have a look at a picture of the Flying Scotsman, and whilst it's not a million miles away from it, there are some differences. There's 3 main wheels on the Flying Scotsman for a start. Well, we've only got 2 here, and it's possibly a little bit longer, and maybe some odd shape differences. I think it's similar in class, but not quite the same. So if anybody knows what locomotive this is, tell me in the comments. In terms of the actual model itself, I think it looks great as a static model, but I think you'd have difficulties if you started to try running it. That running gear at the bottom gets itself into a bit of a mess if it's moving. And if I was wanting it as a moving model, I'd probably do some more work on the equipment at the bottom and try to make it something that would work better. But for what it is, I think it's a good looking model. Some better pictures that I'll throw up at the end here for you to take a look at all angles. And yeah, all good. So see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Hi guys, welcome to 2022. Happy New Year to you all. If you're watching this when it goes up, this is New Year's Day 2022. Thanks for sticking with the channel. If you're new to it, you're welcome. This is Baldy Makes Stuff, the channel where we make construction sets up, mostly Meccano, but we might branch out eventually. And today, here to talk about this. The Meccano 9550 Motion System 50 Best Of. Not quite sure what order you're supposed to say all those things in. But anyway, cracking set. No longer in production. Meccano made it around about year 2000, a couple of years either way behind it. You can pick these up on eBay for, at the moment in the UK, somewhere between £40 and £50, including postage. Right as we speak, there's 2 advertised on eBay that you can pick up for that. And I have to say, that's immense value for what you get in this, compared to what you would pay for a much smaller new set. You can buy these, at the end of the day, they're still, you know, the same parts, the parts took, particularly where, because they're 20 years old, that's still virtually a new Meccano part if it's been looked after. and you know 50 decent sized models. I like this set so much that I've actually got 2 of them, possibly 3, because I think they're such good value. I've made a few models up out of it, which I'll trace bits off as we go along. And yeah, let's get it open and show you what's in there. So when you open it up, this is what you've got. It comes in a polystyrene box that you can see there. Fill this up. I've actually taken the pieces out and stuck them all in an organiser tray, which is what you've really got to do, because these are okay for presenting them, but to keep them in any kind of order, buy yourself one of these, about a tenner. I always say at this point that it's a good buy, and it is. It keeps you somewhat organised. It's not quite big enough, isn't this tray, for the power tool and the wheels and the motor, but you know, everything else, there's a lot of small parts in there, and if you don't have an organisation system, you're going to lose them. There's a lot of parts here. It says 605 parts. That's probably counting all these nuts and bolts and one as being individual parts, which is cheating a bit, but even so, that's a good number of parts for a Meccano set. It's a decent size. You get this power tool, which no batteries in it at the moment, but oh, maybe there is. To be honest with you, never been that impressed. I've never really used them. You know, much easier with just the normal driver and doing it from that. These are a bit of a gimmick more than anything else, but comes with it. If you do want to use it, then great. Yeah, and as I said, some great models you can get. This is the this is the instruction booklet. 50 best of and 50 models in there. Good clear instructions. As you can see, let's put you down because you clearly don't want to live there anymore. So there we go. Good clear instructions, part by part. You know, you can't go wrong with these. They are quite complicated models, but the instructions are nice and clear, and you know, they come together well. What I'm going to do today is make up this model that you can see on the cover, which is the it's a truck mounted crane of some sort. I'm not quite sure how practical that would be on a day-to-day basis, because just looking at the picture I don't think that rotates at all, so or that I could be wrong. Let's see when we've got it made up, but it's the model to put on the cover, and that's what I tend to make up when I'm doing these things. So there we go. Before we go any further, guys, just a quick word from today's sponsor. Sponsor of today's video is me. Do you really think any other buggers stupid enough to put any money into doing this? But what you could do for me is click your subscribe button, click a like, leave a comment, just, you know, give me some encouragement like that. That'd be massively appreciated. Thanks very much. Before we get on to building that, let's show you one I've got built up. As I mentioned, I've got more than one set of this, and this is a model that I've had built up for a while. You might have seen it in the background of my videos previously. This is an Apache helicopter. Well, I think they don't actually give them names in the model, but that's what it's supposed to be. I think it's a really cool looking model. Actually, the batteries are dead in it because it's been stuck for quite a long time, but if you get it going well enough, that's supposed to go around. And the rear one is, I say supposed to do because it doesn't honestly work that well. There's a little bit too much resistance for this type of motor to work around, but you know, you can do it manually, and I like it. I think it's a really nice model. We'll probably eventually take it down and make something else out with it, but for the time being, this is pretty cool. If you're of my generation, you might remember Airwolf, and I like to think it's something like that. So yeah, bring it up for you to have a look at. There he is. Because I'm about 10 at that. So yeah, there we go. Let's show you some pictures of some other models that I've made along the way. So looking at the photo in the manual, which that's the complete one together, I guess, and what you've basically got is you've got a trailer with a crane mounted on top, and then the tractor unit at the front. So 3 distinct parts basically. So this is the completed model. I think it looks quite nice as a model, but would have zero functionality as an actual crane because there's no turntable on it. So you can do that, and you can lift the hook. Like that. You can eventually lift the hook, trust me on that, with that, but there's no way of turning that crane, so you're always going to be on top of your cab. So, you know, it looks alright, but it's got a way to go before it would actually be of any use to anybody. A few other pictures of some models I've built as well. There's a video coming up of the Meccano fly, which here we are. And there's also a few stills of a forklift truck that was made using this set. No, neither of those two are in existence any longer, so I can't show you them now, but that shows you a little bit more of what can be made. All in all, as I say, I think it's one of the best value sets you can buy out there. It's 40 or 50 quid that will be well spent if you want to buy yourself a decent Meccano set. So, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Thanks very much. Wood Meccano. I like this one so much, I decided I need to make a bigger model. So, set 9 parts list, back to the laser cutter, and here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the world's first wooden Meccano set 9, and some other bits. I quite like that large flat plate that I've done there, which shows what you can do with off-size stuff. But here you go with the rest of it. I think it looks very well. We've got these triangular shapes. We've got strips, which I've stained up for a different colour. See a lot more of them there. We've got plates, flat plates, semicircles, and then the bit that gets a bit harder to make is when you go beyond the stuff that's actually just flat. So what we've done to get like a, you know, a brace plate there, we've got this, a flange plate, and we put the flanges on with the flange pieces there like that. It's not perfect, but it's close enough that you can work with it. Do the same here to get myself a 7x5. Same here, 3x5. You can't make every piece in wood because of the flat nature of some of it, of the wood, and some of them need a bit more 3D, but 90% of the way there, and to be honest with you, part of the aesthetic is going to be mixing it up with the metal and a bit of brass, and that's what makes it look decent along the way anyway. So, that's what I've got, and we're going to go and make a model with it. The model I'm going to try for is this. It's from set 8, 8.5, the side tipping lorry, and the reason why I'm going for this is that it looks like it's one that I can do that doesn't require too much bending, because the wood doesn't lend itself to bending. I'm going to have to work around that a little bit and maybe slightly adapt the design to be able to make it work. But, you know, it's relatively straightforward. Just turn the page over there. 3 sort of major parts for construction. We've got the chassis here, we've got the cab there, and we've got the rear there. What I might do as well is to try sticking in some of my transparent Meccano in this base here, is what I'm thinking, so that we've got a little bit of variation with that as well. And yeah, I think the entire thing will look great when it's finished. So, let's crack on, let's get that built. So this is us getting started on the chassis. I'm quite pleased with the way this has turned out. Went together quite well. You've got to allow a little bit for the thickness of the wood and just adapt slightly for that, but I think the combination of the wood and the metal looks pretty nice. I'm fairly well pleased with it. You've got the final product of the chassis coming up there more or less, and I think it looks well. So we'll just take a look at the steering mechanism. The wheels do turn as you move the steering wheel, and this is done via this steering linkage here, which I believe is called an Ackerman steering linkage, and you can see when you turn the wheel the various strips move to get your steering effect on it. Quite pleased with that, it works fairly well. This is the plate bending plate bender that I use to get curved plates, and this is what we're going to use for the mud guards for the rear wheels. Not sure how well that's going to look in with the wood, but I can't bend the wooden plates, so this is what I've got to do instead. Last thing to look at the chassis, we've got this mechanism which will eventually move the body of the truck up and down. when you rotate this, if you keep a look on that there, and that's taking it down, you rotate it, the various gears rotates, that worm rotates another gear, and eventually you can see that that wooden strip there is moving, and that's the way that you raise the body eventually through another bit of linkage that will be connected to. At this point in the proceedings, I'm going to ask you guys, please, if you've been watching it so far, you must be getting something out of it, so hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and make an ugly bald man with a cold, so, you know, give me a sympathy subscription if nothing else. Make us a bit happier for the day. Thanks very much. On then with the cab. Fairly straightforward this, except that I had to more or less devise my own structure for the cab because the extra thickness of the wooden strips and the fact that you can't get them to bend means that the plan that's published, it gives me a guideline but not a right lot more than that, and you know, had to work around that to do it. But still, I've finished up with something that I think looks reasonably good. The contrast between the strips and the panels that you can see there, you know, and it fits in well. I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out. What do you think about it? Tell me in the comments. Is this a good idea, this wooden Meccano set? I like it. Anyway, you can see more or less how it's turned out, the cab when it's mounted on the body there, and we'll give you a look around it. Starting to come together a bit now, I think. Cab on the body, looks good with that on the chassis. Still not sure about those metal mud guards. Wish there was a different way I could do it, but I don't see how I can just at the minute. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. Last bit coming up then, we've got this body to make. My plan in doing so is to use these transparent Meccano pieces that I made in my previous videos over this bit of a mechanism here, and that's going to be the base of the rear bit that we're using, so you can see the tipping mechanism when we do it, see it winding. I think that'll be something that's a little bit distinct on it. I mean, the entire thing's distinct with being wood, but putting the transparent stuff in as well, I think adds to it. So I've started building the base up, as you can see here. Comes together nicely. There's nothing complicated about this. I didn't really use the plan as it was drawn out because I wanted to incorporate the glass bottom bits, which straight away changed the dimension, well, not the dimensions, but the layout of the stuff that you got to do to get it. And I was quite happy with the way it came together. I got the transparent bottom in there, so we'll be able to see the gears. Eventually got it mounted onto the chassis, and then really just carried on building at it from there. You know, adding bits and bats, and eventually we get to the point where it's more or less built up and ready to go, and you'll see the finished thing very shortly. Hiya YouTube. Right, peculiar looking thing that. I think 98.7% sure that that's an elevator, and that's the basis I'm proceeding on. They don't actually give them titles in this manual, so we're guessing a little bit, but that's what it looks like to me. from the 9550 Motion System Best of 50 model set, which is one of my favourite sets. I think they look good when they're made up. And what we're going to do, make it up, try and get it to work, and then we're going to attach it to this table here and try and get it to go up and down, and we'll see if we can get the professor here to come up and down in it without coming to too much harm. Good luck, Professor. So we start off, as a lot of these models do, with cubes to make the framework. See where we go. This set's different from some of the others in that it uses a lot of these black nuts rather than the standard Meccano shiny zinc plated ones. I think they look alright in the kit itself, but it is just a little bit different to go that route. I think I'm going to make this video slightly longer form than I normally do and just see how that works out. You might have seen, or maybe not, depending on your thing, I've got a long running series where I build a Coles mobile crane, and the long videos for those are about an hour long. They're just me chuntering along in the background telling you it. Well, I'm not aiming for that. This one will be edited somewhat to bring it down to a more watchable time and cut out a lot of the stuff where I'm just staring into nothingness. But even so, we'll go for a slightly longer build and just see how popular or otherwise that is with the viewing public, i.e. you guys. But if you do like this way of doing it, as I say, go and check out the Coles mobile crane builds, because that's a lot more of this sort of thing. Anyway, start with this one by getting all the parts together that we need for each stage. That's what I like to do with this sort of thing, is get them together and then you know you've finished when you get there. The main elevator thing that comes to mind is Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which I believe was the sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. I think that's still something that's in the public consciousness nowadays. I mean, it's 40 years since I was 40 plus years since I was reading that kind of thing, but I think it's still reasonably popular. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and all that's just been recent movies, so yeah, people must be aware of that. Now, does the Professor look like Willy Wonka, or does he look like Frank Hornby? That's a question to be thinking on. If you're still watching this at this point, then clearly there's something here that's appealing to you, so do us a favour and hit the thumbs up button, give us a like, and if you haven't subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That'd make me very happy. Right, 50mm ones, triaxles. I know some people are over keen on triaxles and the plastic gears. I understand why, but they do have a place. It does make some things quite a bit easier and simplifies. If you've done any time at all trying to do the vintage manuals where all you get is one, maybe two exploded pictures of the model, and you've got to figure a lot of it out yourself, well, these instructions then seem, well, a different class, where you've got it step by step. Oh, look at that. Right. 1.5 meters. Don't use original Meccano cord anymore. I tend to use this stuff on a reel, just because it's easier. I'm always astounded at the inventiveness and creativity of the people who've originally designed these models. I mean, it takes a bit of following and doing it. Anybody who makes these up I'm impressed by, but the guys who actually designed them in the first place, well, round of applause. Even the ones where they don't always work entirely right, which some of them do, but yeah. I do think the colour scheme here is attractive with the gold and the black and the orange and so forth. I think somebody's had a good eye for a colour palette there, and it comes well together. Professor's keeping a beady eye on things. I'm not sure he's fancying his ride in this. The motors aren't always up to much, but I think these are a real good piece of design with the captive nuts that you've got in the battery packs. It allows them to be attached well and make part of the model, and yeah, somebody thought that through. Let's give the Professor a test fit, see how he looks. That's not terrible, is it? Might need to strap him in with something to keep him there when it starts going up and down, but if it fits the chair reasonably well, he looks reasonably happy about it. Good job. See how this is looking. The Professor actually comes from a set called the Crazy Inventor set. There were a few of them. There's a time machine and an airship and a couple of other things that I'm sure many of you out there know, but yeah, there we go. Nice little character to put in the models. Meccano actually brought in quite a lot of new shapes with these motion system sets. This, for example, and this are shapes that they've never really done before along with these, and well, useful. Gives you options that weren't really there before. Strange the way the world works. 5 years ago, picked up my first Meccano kit. I'd never really done it as a kid, so I've got some practice in with that, and then 9 months ago decided I was going to start making YouTube videos, and here we are 60 odd videos later. I never ever saw this coming along that we'd be doing to this extent, but I'm enjoying myself, and some of you I think enjoy watching them as well, so all good. And it's been great. Learned a lot of new skills, hopefully starting to learn how to put a video together, although they reckon you need to do at least 100 crap videos before you do one decent one, so this is my 65th crap one, I guess, on that basis. But learning how to do videos, learning how to edit videos. You might be seeing a lot of editing coming into this one, it's far more than I've done before. Trying my skills on that. Maybe you can tell me what you feel of how I'm doing in the comments. But yeah, it's all good fun, I'm enjoying myself. I hope you lot are too. Should just acknowledge that using the Professor as a character, not my idea originally. He's been a starring figure in a lot of Robin Kirk's videos. I would heartily recommend that you go and take a look at some of Robin's animations with the Professor in them. They're a good use of your time if you haven't already seen them. I'll put a link up on the screen to where you can go and see some of those. Good job, Robin. Alright, so here we are, all made up. Ready to, we've got to find somewhere to mount this, which is the mechanism that it attaches to pull itself up from, and then we can go and see how it works for the Professor. I've every faith. Are you feeling happy, Professor? He don't look very happy. I don't suppose I blame him. Anyway, let's see how it works out. Well, we're here with the Professor, just about to take the first trial of the new Great Meccano elevator. Now, we were initially going to go up and down this desk height, which, you know, would have been a fair accomplishment in itself, but we feel we can do better than that. We feel that the elevator's up to a greater height, so you will see here my 100 subscriber certificate is acting as the mounting point for the elevator, which gives us a greater distance to try and traverse. There we are. What do you feel about that, Professor? Are you happy that we'll be having such an exciting adventure to begin with? Professor, that's not language you should be using in front of a family audience. Right, here we are then. First of all, let's call the elevator down. Which we do by pressing this switch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've enjoyed this video and you like elevators, well, here's a link to one that I made a while back for the lift to the Batcave. So just go take a look at that one, you might enjoy that one as well. Thanks very much for watching, we'll see you next time round.